Welcome to the final chapter of Anna's story, titled A Life of Regret, Anna's Final Confession. In this compelling conclusion, we follow Anna as she reflects on the aftermath of her tumultuous journey, past and faces the consequences of her choices. We explore the struggles, the fleeting moments of stability, and the ultimate price she paid for a life of deception and survival. Join us as Anna reflects on her experiences, the impact on her relationships, and the deep regret that shadows her life now. This is Anna's final confession, a poignant and powerful conclusion to a gripping tale of hardship and redemption. Hi, my name is Anna, and I was a prostitute in City. I want to share my story, not for sympathy or judgment, but to reveal how easily one's life can spiral out of control. I didn't come from a poor family. We were 5 in total, my parents, my 2 younger brothers, and me. We were a close-knit family practicing Orthodox Christianity. My parents were respectable and hard-working, always ensuring I had everything I needed. Our home was warm and loving, filled with laughter and support. My schooling was excellent. I attended a private school where I excelled in my studies and had many friends. But in the late 70s, at the age of 21, I succumbed to peer pressure and the allure of an adventurous life my friends promised. It started innocently enough. My friends, who were more worldly and daring, introduced me to a new lifestyle. We would go out every night, visiting the trendiest clubs and bars. I began dating multiple men, a thrilling but dangerous game. The ones who couldn't keep up with my lifestyle or afford the luxuries I craved were quickly discarded. I kept my activities secret, justifying my actions by telling myself it was all in the name of fun. As time went on, the stakes grew higher. My friends were already deep in the life of prostitution, and it didn't take long before they coaxed me into joining them. We moved into a small, cramped apartment together. It was a dingy place far from the comfort of my family home, but it became our base of operations. I remember the first night I stood on the street, dressed provocatively, my heart pounding with fear and excitement. My friends assured me it would get easier, and they were right. Soon I was a regular on the streets of City, selling my body to anyone willing to pay. The thrill of easy money and the power I felt over men was intoxicating. My target market was affluent businessmen, lonely travelers, and occasionally the city's underground elite. They paid handsomely, and for a while it seemed like I had everything under control. But the dangers were real. The constant fear of being caught by the police, the risk of disease, and the threat of violent clients loomed over me. I had to be tough, always on guard, never allowing myself to show weakness. The friends I lived with became my family, and together we navigated the dark, treacherous world we had chosen. One night, everything changed. I was attacked by a client who refused to pay. My friends found me bloodied and bruised, and it was then I realized the life I was living could kill me. I began to question my choices, the friends who had led me down this path, and my own weaknesses that had brought me here. The decision to leave wasn't easy. I had become accustomed to the lifestyle, and the money was hard to give up. But I knew I had to save myself. With the little savings I had, I moved away from City, leaving my friends and the life I knew behind. Rebuilding my life was a slow, painful process. I found a job, made new friends, and gradually distanced myself from my past. But the memories linger, and every day was a reminder of the choices I made. Rebuilding my life was a slow, painful process. I found a job at a retail store, working hard to forget my past. The routine helped, but some men couldn't help but hit on me. I would go out with them, but the mentality of needing to be paid after sex didn't go away. Every time I had a boyfriend, I would demand payment, seeing nothing wrong with it. Eventually, I started selling publicly again on weekends when I was off duty. When my father found out, he was furious. The day he kicked me out was seared into my memory. The look of disappointment and anger on his face was unbearable. "You are an embarrassment, Anna," he said, his voice shaking. "You cannot stay here anymore." With nowhere else to go, I moved in with one of my boyfriends. His name was Victor, a kind man who had shown me more compassion than I deserved. That night, with tears streaming down my face, I told him everything. I expected him to throw me out too, but instead, he held me close. "I accept you, Anna," he whispered, "but you have to promise me one thing. No more selling yourself. Not to me, not to anyone." I nodded, grateful for his understanding, but the urge to fall back into old habits lingered. Living with Victor was a new beginning, but every day was a battle against the darkness that threatened to consume me. The streets of Zakan City still called to me, their whispers haunting my thoughts. I found myself walking the familiar paths at night, the cold air biting at my skin, the neon lights casting eerie shadows. The thrill, the danger, the easy money, it all tugged at me like an old lover. But I had made a promise, and breaking it would mean losing the one person who still believed in me. The tension between my past and my present grew unbearable. Every time I looked at Victor, I saw the trust in his eyes, and it filled me with dread. What if he found out I had gone back to the streets? What if he discovered the lies I still told myself to justify my actions? One fateful weekend, the temptation became too strong. I found myself on the corner where it all began, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. The first car that pulled up felt like a step back into hell, but I couldn't resist. I needed the money, the thrill, the validation. That night I came home to Victor's apartment, the weight of my deceit pressing down on me. As I opened the door, I found him waiting, his eyes filled with a mix of anger and hurt. "You promised me, Anna," he said, his voice breaking. "You promised." I broke down, confessing everything, the shame, the guilt, the relentless pull of my old life. Victor listened, his face a mask of sorrow. "You need help, Anna," he said softly. "More than I can give you, but I won't abandon you. We'll get through this together." His words were a lifeline, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. I realized then that if I was to have any chance at a future, I had to confront my past and the demons that came with it. With Victor by my side, I started the long, arduous journey toward redemption, one step at a time. The following day, in the middle of the night, Victor woke me up and said, "I was serious when I said I won't abandon you. Now, I think I must accept you the way you are. When you want to go selling, you can go. I will not mind." So, I returned to the streets, getting calls and coming back with money. I bought Victor presents, trying to keep a semblance of normalcy in our twisted reality. Sometimes I came home exhausted, not wanting to be intimate, but I forced myself to keep Victor happy. Coming home in the early hours, I would bathe and collapse into bed, my body aching from standing and moving from bed to bed. This carried on for 3 long years. My double life continued until the shop owner discovered my weekend activities and fired me. With no steady job, I returned to selling myself daily. Then 5 consecutive customers in 1 week refused to pay me. Furious and desperate, I took the matter to court, claiming rape. The court dismissed it, saying it was a matter for civil court, a supplier and buyer dispute. I opened a civil case and received letters of demand from the court, instructing me to deliver them to these men. But as I stood with those letters in my hands, I realized the harsh truth. I had been lucky to be paid at all. There was no protection in this business. Throughout this turmoil, Victor remained supportive. Eventually, I stopped prostituting, and Victor and I got married. We had 3 beautiful children together. Years later, Victor fell ill and passed away. May his soul rest in peace. Now, as a grandmother of 7, I look back with profound regret. Every choice, every misguided step haunts me. I wish I had chosen differently, but life doesn't offer do-overs. This is my story, my truth. I hope it serves as a warning to others who might be tempted by the allure of easy money and a dangerous life.